Hey Rockstars, Lidshaw coming to you from NAMM 2022, and I'm standing here at the SSL booth with Fady Hayek. How you doing,
Hi,
Fady?
man. It's good to see you.
It's great to see you, man. I haven't seen you. You're looking sharp, dude.
Since Bonnaroo, I think, was the last time I saw you. You still had the beard.
That's right. That's right. I had the beard,
You
and
had the Nashville beard for the litigation thing that you
even had the man bun back then.
That's right, you did. That's right. So that congratulations, by the way.
Yeah, well,
Congratulations for taking that.
thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. He's talking about winning the home studio battles,
Right, yeah,
Rockstars.
That was a big one. That's a big deal. So congratulations on
Well,
that.
it feels good to be finally making legal records, I guess, you know?
Well, I mean, hey, this is the roots of Nashville. People having studios in their homes. How could you stop that? It's like, I don't get it.
Who says I did?
Exactly.
It's rock and roll. Come on.
Hey, that's what we do.
So Fady's also referring to Bonnaroo, my hay bale studio that I did down there for 15 years. And we teamed up to take SSL consoles down to the studio a number of years. It was a blast.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, when I got a chance to see it finally, I was amazed at what you were pulling off in that hay bale room. The insulation from the hay, all that was very clever stuff.
Well, thank you very much. And now, of course, myself and many of the rock stars in our audience are all working out of home studios, and now that we can do it, you know, and we're dying to know what we can do with SSL as far as really dialing up our home studio, using some of these amazing tools you're making. I mean, we've got controllers now, we've got analog processors of all sorts. So you want to just give us a tour down what's on display here?
These products, we call them audio creative products. And the whole idea of that was to, this was kind of started with Peter Gabriel when I first joined SSL, and the idea was take what we do already in the big mixing consoles and modularize it, but without compromising it at all. So what you see here is little bits of everything that is great about SSL. You can put it together however you want, whatever scale that you want, whatever affordability you can reach.
Mix and match.
Mix and match, exactly.
Mix and match and then mix.
A Lego kit, more for a lack of a better word. This is the VHD microphone preamp. So the VHD pre is actually two separate preamps. One is a clean microphone pre, the other one is a variable harmonic drive pre. So when you hit this drive key, it basically adds this harmonic that gives you some really nice punch and like really nice modulation. So if you want some of the transformer style sound, you turn this knob to second order, or transistor style sound to the other direction.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so you can have different coloration microphone pre's. And it's got a DI built right into it down here, and a high-pass filter. Because typically, high-pass is really very useful when you're tracking on a microphone, get rid of some of the low-end rumble, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, good call. So then we got a bunch of stuff, and these are all 500 modules.
So this one is the 6-channel strip. So this is the same channel strip you find on the SSL 6 mixer, microphone pre, EQ, high and low EQ, and a dynamic section, and a DI input. So you want a whole SSL channel strip. This is a really economical way to go because it gives you everything you need with one module. So if you need lots of these, this is a great way to go.
That's sweet. It's so simple. It's so compact, too.
Precisely. And these are the tried and true E versions of the dynamic and the EQ. So the VCA-based dynamic and the E-Series Black Series EQ. And has also, of course, the Brown Series version. So this is the most sought-after EQ that we make.
Yeah, why is it? Why do we always hear the E as the thing? You know, sometimes, like on my UC1, I can switch on the E switch on my EQ.
Yeah, I think it was hip-hop that really brought it home. A lot of people in hip-hop work with this EQ, rock and roll especially, too. The G series tends to be a bit more surgical, so for solving problems, things like that, the G is great. But if you have a console that has them both, you're really in a sweet spot because you have the options of both. This, on the other hand, is where everybody loves this one because of its bite, because of its character, and it's just generally been a popular sound that we've had.
Right on.
So, yeah.
Okay, cool. So what else have we got here? No, it looks like a controller for the stereo speakers.
Very popular interface that we've been selling now for a while. This is the SSL 2 series interface. So 2 in, 2 out. There's a version called the SSL 2. This is the 2 Plus model. So this one has 2 in, 4 out, and a MIDI interface. What we wanted to do is give somebody with a desktop system a real easy, simple, high-quality interface with the SSL 4K harmonic processing here. If you press that, it gives you some of the 4K mix bus sound, so you can get some of that punch on it. And of course, it's also monitor section, so you can run your monitors right from here, and you can run up to 2 headphone systems, so you can be tracking and monitoring on headphones, or you can have 2 people have separate headphone mixes if you want.
Very cool. And then is there some flexibility as what's feeding the headphones?
Other than the wet-dry signal, where you're able to feed a signal that is direct from the interface. So if you got some latency that you don't want to have, you can mix as much of that in or mix as much of that out as you want. So that's one of the things that you can do. And also you have the ability to split stereo or use them independently. So the stereo button allows me to set up the one channel on one side, one channel on the other side. So you can see how you can do 3/4 output from here. So there are some monitoring options that are available to you.
Yeah, so with this 3/4 switch, we could send an alternate mix. We could listen to 1 and 2 in the control room, but send 3/4 to the headphones, right?
Exactly. Yeah, so if you want to do an alternate headphone mix to the artist that's different from the studio mix, that's one way you can go about it.
All right, very cool. And now we're getting into territory that really gets me excited, because I have recently become a user of the UC1 in my studio at the Toy Box Studio, and I am absolutely in love with using it, and I'm just trying to get as ninja as I can with this thing. So why don't you give us an introduction to what this is and why should people be taking a look at this for their studios?
Well, the thing about working on a console, as you know, there is this ease of use where you just get up and go. It's a focus tool for a focused purpose. This is the whole idea of this unit. Focused on using the SSL plugins as easily as possible. So it works with a software application called 360.
The UC1, what I love doing is when I'm mixing, I can select any channel in my mix, and then this plugin will pop up. The SSL channel strip 2 will just pop right up on the screen, and when I go to the next channel, if I put an SSL 2 channel strip on that track as well, it pops up, and then without even looking up from the screen, I can actually glance down here. If you see down here where this is, and this actually shows me which track I'm on. So one quick glance at this, just to confirm that I'm on it, and I'm turning knobs without even looking up at the computer screen and mixing, and it's really fast.
Yeah, it's really fast, but we do realize a lot of people would like to see a mixer. So up on the screen we have this utility called the 360 mixer. So it basically borrows everything that the the Pro Tools system is running. So no matter how many SSL channel strips are there, show up automatically here. It adapts the name as well, so that name that you mentioned is appearing there, appears here. But where this really becomes a brilliant system is when you add the UF8. The UF8 marries beautifully with this. It doesn't have to work with the UC1, it can work independently, but look how I'm able to engage and switch the UC1 and the UF8 just by simply dialing and selecting. Dialing and selecting. The UF8 follows exactly what I'm doing, or I can do it from the UF8, like so, or I can do it from my software. The whole idea is, if you're a workstation DAW user, you don't have to give up how you go about doing things. You can just simply work the way you like.
Now, are these touch-sensitive faders as well?
Touch-sensitive faders, touch-sensitive encoders, and this large encoder here lets you do granular control, so you can do really high-resolution control with this, just by gliding the mouse over a function and then turning it. It turns at fine resolution. That's also touch-sensitive.
Okay, cool. So now, why don't we pop the plugin up on the screen too, just so the rock stars can see it, because it's such a great-looking plugin. So this would be the Channel Strip 2 from SSL. And it basically mirrors what you see on the UC1, except that one thing we didn't mention about the UC1 that's so cool is you actually have the, here, why don't you look down for just 1 sec. We actually have the bus compressor as well is represented right on the UC1. So even though I'm dialing in over here with EQs and the compression for the channels while I'm working, meanwhile I can just look over here and I'm always going to see what my mix compression is on the stereo mix while I'm working. So that's one of those things where, like, you know, sometimes your plug-in is far away in your session and you're not really sure what it's doing anymore. Yeah,
you have to go searching for it. Well, there's no point because it's right there, right in front of you. And if you have multiple bus compressors, that's what this knob does. It glides you through all the available bus compressors in your session, so you don't have to go searching. And that's the beauty of this system, is that it works, it comes to you. Everything just comes to you. And keeps you from having to think about where everything is, but then just focus on what it sounds like, you know?
So yeah, we've got the plugin up now, Rockstars. So this is the Channel Strip 2 plugin, and you can see it looks identical to the controller, which is really cool, because then you have to make your brain work hard to figure out what's what, you know? And then you'll see the bus compressor is not in the middle of the plugin, because that's actually, let's see, if we pull up the 360, here, I'll show you a fast way to pull up the 360. Watch this, follow me with the camera, watch this button. Boom, there's 360 plugin. And now we've got basically the SSL mixer, and all our bus plugins show up right here on the side. You can see the compressor. So that's really cool.
So yeah, if you have a bunch of these, they just show up that way. Yeah.
And then what about zoom mode for this guy too? Watch this. Is that it right here? If I push this button down here, I hit zoom mode, and then look at that. It got fat and giant, and we can see up close, like we leaned over the console and we're taking a closer look at what we're working on.
You can scroll up and down to see the full channel strip if you don't have enough graphic resolution. What this does basically is it takes out the fader from the display, but it gives you real high resolution look. And as you're scrolling through the different channels of the console, you got a lot of detail now that you can look at and be really precise. So like earlier, I just mentioned to you how you're able to use this knob to do a focus mode. Watch, if I select that, I can make that change in real high resolution this way. So I can do single sample increment, 0.1 dB increment, really, really high resolution if I want to do like very meticulous control.
Nice. And then another cool thing about this, Rockstars, is if you actually put the channel strip, like let's say you're starting to build your mix, and the very first thing you do is you just put channel strip on every single insert of every track, because why wouldn't you want to have EQ and stuff like that?
Very efficient. I'm running here on a Macintosh a MacBook Pro M1 processor, first generation. I've got 46 tracks going with a channel. Every track has a channel strip on it. It's running just fine.
I think when I got my M1 working, I wanted to see how it could handle it. So I think I did like 380 tracks or something like that, all with the channel strip on it. It was like no problem.
The software is Mojave compliant. No problems with Mojave, so it's working beautifully.
So here's another cool feature about that, Rockstars. When you have it on all the channels, now that means that you can actually hit the solo button on the UC1 and it will solo that track, because it's smart enough to mute the other tracks that have the SSL on it too.
On the DAW system, yeah, that's right, yeah.
All right, cool. So that's pretty deep dive into it. But occasionally people like myself and others think, yeah, but what if I like all this control in Pro Tools, but what if I want to get some of the summing sound of analog again? Do we have a way to break out some audio for our home studios? You guys have some stuff we could use for that?
Sure, yeah. We've got some new small scale mixers. One we call is a 6, and the other one we call the Big 6. We have that back over here. If you follow me, I'll show them to you. So starting with the small 6. So this is our idea of a really high-end desktop mixer. We realized a while ago that nobody was really paying any attention to somebody who wants a great quality desktop. And what we did is we took the same technology from our super analog consoles and we shrunk it down to a small scale. So you got 2 money channels over here with dynamics and EQ. You got the bus compressor. You got 12 inputs available. And you've got 2 mix buses on this. So
that's amazing.
It's chock full of stuff, this thing. So when we rolled this out a few years ago, people were like, I wish you could make me a bigger one. and I wish you could make me one with interface on boards. I was like, okay, sure. Here you go. This is the Big 6. So that's what the Big 6 is about. It's the big brother to the 6. It's got 20 inputs available on it, 4 of those money channels. We even added some new EQ over here, 3-band EQ instead of the 2-band EQ. And changed the attack characteristic of the dynamics. So a lot of people had comment where that it attacked a little too hard. So bass guitarists weren't really very happy with it. So we changed the knee on this version just a little bit. And a lot of people have been very happy with that. But what's really cool about this thing is it's got a built-in 16 in, 16 out interface for your Macintosh or your Windows-based machine. You connect it via USB. It shows up automatically on Macs, Core Audio, no problem. It just shows up as an extra interface. Or on Windows, you use ASIO, and it shows up as an ASIO device. So it's an interface as well as a mixer. Yeah.
Very cool. And then if we wanted to break out a mix and sum it analog, will this allow us to do that as well?
Absolutely. Like typically, let's say we're going to record on these channels. If you look down here, you'll notice that there is something that says USB. That allows me to dial that channel to that output. So channel 1 is output 1 or input 1 on Pro Tools or whatever DAW you're using. Now, if you want to bring that signal back from Pro Tools and scan it across the whole console, you flip the signal path from the analog input to the USB input. Now that comes back from Pro Tools. So by you selecting and isolating individual tracks to individual channels, we'll break out the whole mix over here. So that you have every channel with its own inserts on the first 4 inputs, and EQ, and dynamics, and the last 4 have EQ. So you can break the channel out, sum it outside the box. You can even render each individual channel back in by simply selecting USB back input. So it loops it through the channel, the analog channel, and sends it right back to Pro Tools individually as stems.
Wow.
Or go to the mix bus and use 15 and 16 and do a total mix inside the box using input 15 and 16 on the USB port. So there you have, it's very, very flexible integration of the analog and the DAW inputs and outputs. So, I mean, there's even a really cool trick on this where you can do the effect sends. You can send the effect send to one of the USB inputs. So let's say you don't own a high quality reverb unit, but you own an SSL FlexVerb.
Right.
You can send the send to an input that you can assign to an aux on Pro Tools that's assigned to a FlexVerb, and then send that aux output to the digital returns on the return here, effectively creating an effect send and return through Pro Tools through a plugin, giving you like a real hardware reverb unit.
Wow, so you can actually send like sends on the console or going back to the plugin and back into the mix.
And back into the mix in analog, yeah. It's really crazy.
Making my head spin, man. It's awesome.
I know, it's really cool. It's very cool.
Awesome, dude. Well, thank you so much for showing us around. It's so great to see you, dude.
It's great to see you too.
Yeah. So Rockstars, where do they want to go to find out about this stuff if they're ready to check it out?
Yeah, www.solidstatelogic.com. You can find all of the stuff there. There's also a YouTube channel called SSL Videos. You can check out all of our videos there. So enjoy. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for watching this, Rockstars. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the like button on this video too, because Fady kicked some ass on this and this sounds awesome. Very helpful. Thank you, dude.
Thank you for coming by. It's great to see everyone. Take care, guys.
Cheers.